And my average price on Rigetti is like 13. All right, LUNR by popular demand. We should make a space section for this since there's so many. Shorting crypto is just like shorting anything else. You just go on an exchange, borrow, and sell. Yeah, it's pretty compelling. Well, quantum teleportation isn't what it sounds like. Not really sure what these guys do. I barely know anything about the company. I've spent a total of 2 minutes on it. So who's their major customer? I assume so. So this is cost plus work for NASA on moon stuff. Okay. On AVXL, I'm not sure. I think it deserves a short position in pretty much everyone's portfolio, at least as a small amount. In terms of sizing and timing, what I like to do for things like this where you know it's early, and maybe I should have done this with quantum, is, I don't know, let's say this is January, April, July. Okay. So if you, let's say the stock price is arbitrary X, your position size, I'll draw in green. Basically, your plan is you sort of rise some sub-asymptotically, I guess, sub-exponentially. So you try to grow your position if you don't know when the catalyst is going to be, which I think is the case here, you start with a small position, you sort of grow. So this is sizing. Now the price, you don't know, as quants say, returns are randomly distributed. So you don't know when the actual price is going to drop. It may even rise, right? So you assume this price sort of takes a random walk and eventually craters. We draw another random walk here, the early crater. We'll draw another random walk here. It's kind of a late crater. So the way I look at this is practically I'm happy if I have a small position and it immediately craters. My IRR is pretty high. Let's say it's up here. And my IRR is dropping. Well, if I make, what's the IRR here? It's not exactly dropping, but let's see. Well, yeah, it is dropping because let's say the event already happened in this fictional world. And then it sort of bumps up again here and it bumps up again here. So that's the kind of nature of IRRs with these things. You might have this tiny position. You say, oh, that sucks. I have this tiny position. And the stock dropped really quickly. Well, that's a good thing. You know, even if you had a 1% position, if it dropped 80% or something, you made 80 basis points in, I don't know, a month or something. That's a 12% ARR. Depends on your risk tolerance, right? Whatever it is, N%. Then you say 2N% and then 5N%. So maybe your risk tolerance is higher and N is 10%, in which case you made 8%, in which that's 120% ARR. And here, it took twice as long. This is the 6-month outcome, right? So, but you had 2N, so you have a 20% position. So you may say you made 16% notional, 32%. And then at the 5x, you made 40%. So IRR here is something like this. So you're almost happier if it comes early, even though it's a small position, paradoxically. And again, you could adjust these as you see fit. Just make sure you stick to the plan, which most people do not, including myself, and think that through. But yeah, you shouldn't mind it coming early, of course. And the longer it takes, you still want some kind of exposure early, even, and then just increasing it a little bit each month as the decision nears. Now, could EMA approve it? You know, we just don't know. It's possible. Remember, look at Humacyte. The regulatory decisions are different from clinical trial data. And regulatory decisions are very, 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 very different. EMA is very strict. Quite hard to sell medicine in Europe. And they have no patent. And they're never going to get FDA approval. It's not even clear they're allowed to do a clinical trial in the US. So whatever bugged the FDA for an IND, I can imagine is going to bug Europe. It's not like these guys don't talk to each other. So I don't know. It's a little confusing. I got this fun message from a Anavex long. What's your thoughts on 𝗣𝗂𝗘𝗢? Have anything to say on the peer review of the Anavex? Sorry I said that word, but it is what you look like now. You will lose with Anavex. Promise you that. Why does this drug only work at 48 weeks? I'm kind of curious. Going to be a good year for Anavex. What is your opinion of the peer review? Taking you quite a bit of time to make up some lies against 30+ experts that say it working. So to you, I say stay away from this one. It can help millions of people. Just take your loss or gain and stop bashing. Everyone needs a second chance. The bashers. We bash. Oh yeah, that's a good song for bears. Or is that a song for bulls? Oh, it was a microcap to start with this. Start with this thing. Everyone's presenting at JP Morgan. All the best stocks make baggies on both sides. Grave makers, widow makers. Going down. Meet me on the trading floor. This was the next one. That's my Harambe dance. It's like a gorilla dance. The cats are getting along. The old cat loves my girlfriend. The new cat's a little wary. But they were eating together, which was cute. So they're just Moon? I don't understand how this could be a business, though. Like a publicly traded company that's just Moon? Yeah, Jinzo, that's a good idea. We were working on something like that. Like, how much business can there be on the moon? I'm about to go into CHUD mode. Commercial Lunar Payload Services. I mean, what's the whole NASA contract? Everybody's trying to feed off NASA. The NASA budget's $22 billion. SpaceX gets 100% of that, 100%. I mean, just for NASA, like throwing them 100 mil every now and then does not make it worth $2.7 billion. You know what I mean? These aren't even that profitable contracts. They're like at cost. 4 million gross margin, dude. This is a zero. Near Space Network Data Service. Okay, that's different. Near Space, okay, that's different. In-space communication, that's not Mars. It's all Mars. That don't make no sense. I'm sorry, Moon. Not Mars, Moon. Maximum potential value of 4.8 billion. I've seen a few of those before. Potential.
Good morning. Welcome to the Intuitive Machines third quarter 2024 earnings call.
Well, who's trying to buy these services? You make an internet on the moon without any people to use it. How does that work? Think about it. What type of sense does that make? Does it make sense to anybody else? Let me connect to this moon network. Let me SSH in. Why? What's on there? I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. It's completely useless.
Partially filled.
There's got to be some use to it.
Autofilled.
Like, for example, yeah, I guess you have a way to connect up there, but you still can only data can only travel as fast as the speed of light, right? So, large language moon models. Yeah, I agree with you, KDR. Like, it's hard to know for sure. Pay by the minute moon. It's like AT&T on the moon. Sprint, MCI. Trichotillomania. Mental health condition induced by being a bag holder. Why does trichotillomania feel so good? Voluntarily relieve a person from feelings of stress and anxiety. Well, we all know I have severe anxiety.
Partially filled.
Yo, why do I pull out my hair and eat the follicle? Why does it taste so good? What celebrities have trichotillomania? Me? Megan Fox, Justin Timberlake, my wife Amy Schumer, my other wife Katy Perry. Squeeze a stress ball. Use a fidget spinner. Take a soothing bath. Okay, BRB. Urge to pull? It's not viewers, it's views. Man, first lunar landing in 50 years. Let's just say business has been quiet. Yeah, things have been slow. Hopefully they're going to pick up in the next 50 years. We could do SLS watch. February, okay. We might be able to make some money on SLS. Not every stock move has a meaning or purpose behind it, especially given half the volume in the market is some machine. More than half. Don't get in the habit of asking why all the time. Why is this stock up? Why isn't it up? You know, do something about it. Go short it or something. 25 to 30 years? I don't know. You can figure out what stock to buy for 25 minutes. You can be a bull and a bear, man. That's how we do. Stocks that have more cash than their market cap can sometimes be worth something, but okay, double quarter pounder or McCrispy or Big Mac, or I think I'm doing McCrispy. I'm good not getting the best deal in McDonald's. That's okay. It's not the end of the world for me. I'm trying to do a pair trade on this McDonald's. Is it the variance? Trying to whip it and flip it. I see. Staying delta neutral. Quantum's starting to look a little weak again. QMCO is down. Shareholders learn as company has no plans to be a quantum computing. Space is very hot right now. But like, how much of NASA's budget is launch? They had a lot back then. A human spaceflight, what does that even mean though? What that mean though? Spent 73% on contracts. So SpaceX must have a ton of non-space revenue, like Starlink, I guess, and other tons of revenue from Artemis campaign. 2.6 billion. Isn't that the moon? It's kind of hard to value these types of businesses because they're so fundamentally dependent on these contracts. They don't have independent businesses. And so like, how do they get a business that isn't dependent on the government doling out a contract every year, which these contracts appear to be fairly low margin. So how did they get a contract like that? And I don't know, their space communications thing, I would think that Starlink would be better positioned for that. Which fund? Bruce, which fund? Yeah, it's hard to make heads or tails of this thing. Given that it was trading at 40 cents for a long time.
Order partially filled.
I tend to think it'll return to that. And that we're seeing a liquidity driven boom in lots of stocks. And I don't know, it feels to me like, unless you can point to a business that, I mean, NASA contracting out some of their work, or all of their work, it sounds like. I'm not sure that's like that exciting to be a contractor for them on a few things. It hasn't been profitable for them so far. It's not my field. Yeah, the Amgen drug doesn't look too competitive. Oh, I have to go tip all my doormen. Work on modeling your whole career. It's just one facet of your game, you know. Trying to short more Rigetti and IonQ. My broker's like, stop it! We're going to be insolvent at this rate. Mr. Shkreli, your business is not worth it to us. Percentage of portfolio, 800%, something like that. Oh, no, we're about 11x leverage right now. 11x. Every tick down on these stocks is a Bugatti. You like Celtics, Heat, Thunder, Bucks, Warriors. Those are all the favorites. No, Discord is not invite only. Should be discord.gg/Martin Shkreli. Most banks won't let you do anything interesting with 25K. Sometimes you got to stop the squeeze. Yeah, so you think the Pacers win tonight or the Heat? Celtics win, Bucks win, OKC wins, Golden State wins, Lakers win. I don't do parlays. I lost on the Raptors last night, and Nets lost to them. 70 G's on this. Yeah, I've been doing way too much size lately. Didn't do anything for New Year's. Why does Golden State suck so much this year? Yeah, most Wall Street guys are in sports, interested in sports. Some aren't. Like the quants aren't usually, but the jocks are. Half these guys own sports teams. Look at Stevie Cohen. I'm not single anymore. Sorry. Would have loved to be your brother-in-law. I just can't do it. Yeah, I'm thinking Robinhood will too. Robinhood's going to do sports betting. Robinhood's basically a gambling thing. So the Pacers lost to the Bucks last night. They beat the Celtics 2 games before. I got that, if I recall correctly. How do they beat the Celtics and lose to the Pelicans? Who did they lose to? They beat the Heat before, and they lost to the Heat before. In basketball, you can have a bad night. Buy Rigetti to drive Bugatti. And eat spaghetti and Bugatti. I know Rigetti. Okay, this is a video game. It's called NetHack. Checkpoint is not taking Merc on. There's a lot of PD-1 inhibitors. There's a really attractive short for any hedge fund. Massive, the overvalued company and liquid. IonQ is also, our Rigetti is also liquid. It's a smaller company. You can get a much bigger position on. First off, I don't regret a single thing.
Order partially filled.
All Levi and Griskins, they're a beast. These lawsuits. Anybody here a client? 𝗤𝗏 and 𝗏𝗂𝗏. I want to meet these guys, man. Just want to say, stop polluting the tape with what he needs to hear about your class actions. Microsoft CEO sneezes. Class action. Jamie Dimon says there's a potential recession. Class action. Girlfriend mad at you. Class action. I do want to double down, deposit more funds. Yes, buy all the Rigetti you can. Mortgage the house. They're not the 11th place quantum company at all. They're number 1. That's basically called momentum trading or momentum investing, Harry. Quants do it. It's a great quant strategy. I think Rigetti has been gamma squeezing. Only the true suckers are buying Rigetti now. Yes, Andrew is correct. Now is the time. I bought these 19 Rigetti calls for like 6 cents. 19 calls. I didn't think in a million years. I picked the price. I was like, there's no way this ever goes in the money, right?
Order filled.
No possible way this could be in the money. It's in the money. No, I'm still not short it. I just have a little bit of protection. A little bit of extra protection. I never thought would be worth anything. Well, I'm still bleeding. If it wasn't for some of the calls I own, I would have been blown up a million times over. But my hope was that, so basically, you're buying the stock, it's doing this. If you short the stock and you buy, I don't know, let's say, while it's here, you buy these calls. These are the calls you buy on this date. And the calls you're buying are these strikes. All right, well, these calls won't be worth much. They'll be the cheapest, though. So it's 5 cents. These are 20 cents. These are $1. These are $2. Something like this, okay? So you're short the stock. You're betting the stock goes down. Let's say you're short 100,000 shares. Round numbers. You know, I don't know, let's say at this price, it's a $7 stock. What you might want to do, 700 calls. So if you have 700 calls, that's like, they're 100 share lots. So that's like owning 70,000 shares. But you're doing that across this. So the delta on these is like 10% delta. I call this 15% delta. These are all out of the money. So these would be like 30% delta, 50% delta, something like this. And so the actual delta hedge, when you apply it, is even less than 70,000 shares. So you could increase this. You could make this 100,000 shares. So like here, theoretically, your max risk is whatever the price of this call is. So there's a lot of ways to sort of lock in losses, if you will, as a protective measurement. One really funny payout possibility is if you did something like this, 200,000 shares or something like that in calls, then you actually have this weird payout where if this price is 0, this price is infinity, you actually get this bizarre payout where you make money if the stock goes crazy. I think it's the 3 p.m. liquidations. That probably happened. It's funny. That does happen around 3:30. So they're not stock losses. Well, you still lose money. I'm never getting margin called. Don't worry about that. I do have other positions. I mean, IonQ's been behaving itself. IonQ is acting like a blue chip. Rigetti is the weird one. And they're all the same company. I mean, they are basically the same company. It's these weird ones that are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even LAES, like all these are like Rigetti tumbling. Don't be afraid to get to the money at all times. 16 this morning. 16! I'm about to spurg out. Ah! Now I know why Roaring Kitty's so crazy. I'm not short Palantir. I actually think Palantir is a good hedge. You don't want to know the P&L for today. It's so bad. Well, you know I'm short 100,000 Rigetti, so you can guesstimate. I have some hedges. And my average price on Rigetti is like 13. I mean, everybody's got an opinion. There's 8,000 stocks. Technically, I don't see why not. I can't say I've ever seen that. TGTX, TDW, ATHE, so much to look at. 𝗟𝗏𝗃 Therapeutics, really small market cap. A lot of people want to see Zeta, so I'll look at Zeta. Zeta Global Holdings, 240 million shares outstanding. Okay, around $1 billion in revenue. These aren't totally software-like margins. 61%. Somewhere between software and services. Cash flow positive to around 100-something million, so 40 times earnings. Not bad for the growth rate. Not bad at all. Maybe I should use these guys. I try the product out for Goodell.
Boy, for socialism. Bernie Sanders here, listen. I know you might be a capitalist, but look. What you've earned, I deserve. Why not? You didn't earn it, I earned it. Share it with me. Thank you very much. I don't see the issue. What's the issue? It's just the ideology.
Join them. Hold the bag together. That's why these like AMC and GameStop, they're like support groups. The fries in the bag, Baggy. Yes, Mr. Trump.
Should have did real estate like I told you. Real estate's easy. The prices only go up. They go up slowly, but they go up. And you never have to worry about the market.
My mom used to use the Albanian word for win about the stock market. She said, did you win money? I say, Mom, it's not winning. It's investing. She's like, okay, whatever, Martin. And now I know that my mom was right all along. I don't really have a liquidation price. I'm not that crazy. That's like a crypto degen thing. Liquidation price means you have one stock. If you have one stock, you could be liquidated. The stock would have to go up quite a lot. Usually when you have one stock, your whole portfolio, that's a great way to get margin called. 2011, 10? It was a short. It was my one very famous case. It's kind of a weird situation. I ended up settling. Nomura failed. It's a little surprising that it didn't have any effect whatsoever. Some people said they knew it was coming. Some people didn't. It doesn't quite remind me of it. I've had other squeezes like this. It's not really that big of a deal. The important thing is you stay solvent. If you stay solvent, you'll be fine. Because it eventually will drop. I do want to try this. It sounds like good. No, there's times to call it quits. I mean, I think it depends. Each short is different. Like, there's shorts like this where there are really not any fundamentals. It's just the market going crazy. I think that's a very different world than when you're short like a company that's growing and you thought they were overvalued, but they had a really good quarter or something like that. Those are really different from something like this when it's like just parabolic up. They almost always go parabolic down. It's just a question of when. Like QSI doesn't have anything to do with quantum. QSI is 429. It's up 60%. 60. It's not a quantum thing. Yeah, it's definitely a short. QSI, QUBT. Rigetti was almost out of business. My friend talked to the head of Google Quantum the other day, and even he was like, it's never going to be a big market. I don't know why Google's in this space, just because it's futuristic and cool. Apparently Larry or Sergey was really interested in this stuff personally. I think maybe there was some vague hope that you could do a lot of compute with it somehow. There you go. Dark knows what he's doing. I really got to take a Rigetti. I guess I can try to hold it until the market closes. Or I can take off a little early today. No effect whatsoever, I know. Well, I guess the prior effects that we saw with these drugs were fake. They're too small to be reliable. One day you're the bag holder, one day you're pointing out the bag holder. Oh my God, I have to go now. I tried to hold it in, it's not gonna work. I'll love you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Hang in there.